Welcome, everybody. Episode 47. We're getting closer and closer to 50.
How about that?
On the podcast, How to Become a Sales Warrior. I'm your host, Eddie Pods, co-host.
Mark Simpson from Sim Holdings.
I have a really awesome guest today. His name is John Robertson from the Sexy Salad and Hop Hog. And when I sat down last night reading his bio, I took things out of it and I started reading my book, and I'm like, a lot of commonalities, so I'm pretty excited.
John's the type of guy you could just sit here and we could probably go on for a couple hours just with background and history and stuff like that.
Why don't you tell John and the audience why we're here?
Oh, we are here. We're grinders, Ed. I say this all the time, but I can't think of a better word. We are grinders. John probably appreciates that too. We've made mistakes. We've made a few, to quote Queen. But the hope is to share some of our knowledge, what we've learned, to help that with the younger generation. And we do that with various guests, different business owners, different folks that we've met along the way over the last couple of years that have been involved here. So it's been pretty exciting. I think it's useful.
I should have used this as our word of the day. Maybe I'll change it. Diverse. We've been very diverse with our guests, from different genres, different genders,
It really and I think, between some of the folks some of the folks I know, it's been a very different mix of people. And so interesting because there's common theme. You can put anybody around anywhere and there's usually some sort of commonality.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So it's Monday morning, sports moments. You go first.
Sure. So sports moment. You know what? Sam Darnold. Let me tell you why. There's such correlation between what we're doing and what Sam did. Sam, high pick, so you come out of college, you think you're going to get the best job or whatever the case may be.
You end up on the Jets.
You end up losing your job. Then you end up on the Panthers.
Get your ass kicked a few games.
Then you get your MBA. You go work for Kyle
for 1 year.
You go under Kyle Shanahan. And you get your MBA, per se, just like in the real world here. You get your professional certification. And then he goes to Minnesota, has a great year. Minnesota discards him because they think the rookie they draft from Michigan is going to be good. And then, boom, and he's one of only 2 quarterbacks to win back-to-back
14-win seasons.
Well, and who's the other one?
Brady.
There you go. Yep, there you go. So
but he's the first one to do it with 2 different teams.
There you go. That's right. So anyway, I'd say sports. I think give it. Even as a Jet fan, I'd say give a shout out to Sam Darnold. Congratulations to the Seahawks.
I'll let you have that. I go a different way. U.S. girls hockey. I was following both of their games over the weekend. Kicked ass. 10 goals for, 1 against. Loving that. Breezy Johnson took the downhill goal. Lindsey Vonn kind of. Hurt.
All I could say is, Lindsey Vonn trying to go downhill on a torn ACL. and then broke her leg. Yeah,
broke her leg. Yeah. And last, we'll just say the Knicks. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to overblow that.
Listen, I think the best thing is they didn't get Giannis. They didn't break up the core.
I think so too.
Smart trade for Alvarado or whatever his name is, a defensive guy, and let's see what happens.
All right, man. We're jumping into chapter 3, and it has to do with some of the things that John was talking about in his bio that made me go back, read my own book. And chapter 3 is about how to make a business in a gas station. And this is in a time pre-Dunkin' Donuts, pre-Subway in gas stations. And I'm looking at you because you understand the early 90s, this didn't exist. And how I got there, you were just talking about getting your MBA. My first deli lasted 9 months. Closed the doors. Lost it all.
Can I ask you a question? How'd you get it? How'd you get it off the ground? Where did the money come from?
Scraps.
Okay.
And when I closed the doors, my boar's head guy said, "Come ride with me on my route. I'll teach you the business." And I was like, "Let's go." And I rode on a boar's head route for 5 years. 3 different routes, 3 different owners over that time frame. I went from all 5 boroughs all the way up to Katona, New York. I did supermarkets to the mom and pop delis, but I got to see the business from behind the lens, not in front of the lens.
Right.
Behind the lens. What are these people doing that makes them so successful? Then you go into a place in New York City where they expect you to strip down the case every week when you're there, when they're taking $12,000 worth of cold cuts, and you're learning design, you're learning presentation, you're learning all these things
probably
behind the lens.
How to order.
And, building a deli in a gas station long before it became commonplace was a lot of work, but I did it. And again, that was short-lived too, but it's the action statement that really counts with this, okay? If you don't succeed at first, get educated before you try again. And my MBA was on the boar's head route.
So and this only fits in because, as having a senior as you do and having help with homework, we just did something with PepsiCo. PepsiCo is known as a company that produces CEOs. One of the things they do is they identify high-performing employees, the top 20%. They put them in a very challenging situation to do what? Fail. And one of the things they judge is how do you learn from your failure to go forward and take that and advance in your career. So it's interesting.
Go get your MBA, wherever it may. And I did. And you know what? Being a boar's head guy, one of the things I loved about it was the brand. We had the jackets, the cool jackets, the hats, the shirts. And we had gifts to the bigger customers every week with hats and shirts. And we were the authority. When I was at Boar's Head, I went to training classes, learning about the cold cuts, how it's processed, how it's made, what's a good sandwich. And when you went on Tuesday mornings to pick up your load, there was a kitchen. And you went in and had breakfast with all the other drivers for free. And there was a guy behind the counter who made everyone's breakfast, whatever it was, sausage sandwiches, this, that. But it was all branding. They were teaching you the food. This is what we're serving. This is what you should be telling your customers what they should do with our product.
And you just hit something for every single business that probably underestimates this. You might probably agree. Training. Training. Training does not stop. It's some of the best businesses out there. They focus on continuing to train and grow your employee base because that's so valuable. And you see people forget that. They hire somebody, think, oh yeah, they're just there. No, you got to keep going with that.
It's funny you say that. We're having a training session next week, and when I was on the call with the whole team, I didn't understand what it was for, and I had my one-on-one with my boss on Friday, and I said, what is this training for? He goes, well, I want everyone to be able to be familiar with, going through Salesforce, being able to put comments in, not so much worried about making quotes, but we, want to make sure they know how to use the system. And I'm like, I've been using the system for 4 months. I'm booking my own orders. I'm running my own quotes. I need something more than that.
Right.
You're not offering me anything that I could probably teach the class and show my guys how to do it. But challenge me. Give me something. You're going to make me take a class on something I already know.
They say your high-performing employees need to have that sense of challenge. And if you think
100%.
it just makes sense, you get bored. Yeah.
I get bored with talking to my coworkers.
Yeah.
I get bored talking to leadership because they're not challenging me other than me challenging myself.
Right. And such a very important role as a business owner to challenge your folks because you don't realize, it's just like they lose attention span. You get bored. And when you get bored, you're not basically going above and beyond to create that customer experience or that product or whatever the case may be.
So I did not even plan it. Word of the day, education. And, it came from those conversations, but it came from reading his bio and getting educated. And I can't wait to bring you out because there's a couple things I want to tie into. So we're gonna jump to tequila time right now.
Awesome.
Because I don't want to ask any more of these questions without my pal John here. So we'll be back in 5. Episode 47, How to Become a Sales Warrior. I'm your host, Eddie Podge, co-host, Mark Simpson, and special guest today, John Robertson from the Sexy Salad and Hop Bar.
Happy to be here. Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
So you come in and it's tequila time. Tequila time is just a point in the show where we talk about something that we did an old way and something that we do in a new way. And normally I give 2 very different answers, but today I decided to be me because the old way is still sometimes so strong with reward. So it's newspaper. I'm a newspaper reader, have been for my entire life. I get sales from the newspaper. I find out about events that are happening that I can call upon. And if you read the business section of Newsday, which is what I read, Friday I found out that all the Pizza Huts are closing. They are owned by BK Carroll's, who owns Burger King.
Yeah, isn't that Yum Brands?
Yum Brands. And I had conversations with them last year about a project with Burger King's. I didn't know that they were going to be closing all these stores, but there's a play to store equipment for them until they get rid of everything. So once again, the newspaper shines bright on my weekend where I didn't have to pick up the phone. I didn't have to look online. It was delivered to my front door, and I just had to turn the page, and I found a lead. So I know normally I do something old and new, but it is old and new, and I still value it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I wonder in time if the newspaper might come back.
I hope it does.
You know, kind of like clothes come back. I want, because you see the newspaper. Although I did buy a Newsday on a Sunday recently.
It's like $7.
I was like,
my wife does not like the $250 bill a month for a newspaper. But I read it, and if I'm away, they're not allowed to throw the paper out. You save them. Dad's gonna read his papers on. That's what I do. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
A little tequila time.
Oh, Monday.
Happy Monday.
Oh boy.
I avoid the chaser just to suck it in a little bit more.
Something old is I still hate it, and it's still consistent.
So, we'll save that for the end. Anyway, this is the part of the show we start talking about digging into business before we dig into John's business. Best business decision of the week. We're each going to discuss one. You'll think about it while we're plugging away over here. What did I write? Stay aggressive when others are huddling from the cold. I work with people that just make excuses for lack of numbers. And when the numbers aren't there, everybody looks for...
What is the weather?
Weather. And that's when I dig even deeper in the cold and work even harder. And I was away the entire weekend, and I had a 90-minute time slot between guest and Super Bowl. I just looked at my wife, and she knew, man. I ran down to my office, and I started just setting up my week, doing this, doing that. And I had 5 sales before I left my house this morning on Monday. That's how I started my day, by staying fucking aggressive.
You talk about old school years ago, they didn't accept, you didn't get your numbers, you get your numbers. It's just that it wasn't even part of the discussion. You get your numbers.
What about you, Mark? Best business decision?
I'm gonna answer this differently. So, I'm involved with several different businesses.
Sure.
So one of the things that we've done is really focus on our core. And I use the term go narrow and deep. So we have a couple businesses that have like some ancillary divisions, but they're not the revenue driver. So what we're basically doing is saying, where's our revenue coming from? And we're going to double down and go really narrow and deep. Where's our successful customers? Replicate that customer. And I think sometimes there's a sense of relief because you try to grow a business and sometimes you go out
too wide.
This wide, right? And you realize, hey, I'm really good here and maybe
Stay
really good
laser.
here. And if you can basically go narrow and deep, and I hate to talk like a private equity guy for a second,
No, it
but
makes sense.
in essence, you really start to focus, you cut your costs. And so we've done that on across the board with a couple of different businesses I'm involved in. And I think that's it's almost like a refreshing thing. Because like, all right, you know what we know, and we're going to go narrow and deep now. So
Love it.
That's where we're at.
I like that.
Yeah, it sounds like you've identified core competencies.
100%.
80-20, and you focus on that.
There you go.
20%.
We're getting into real stuff here. Yep.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
All right, John. Best business decision of the week.
Ignoring the cold. Taking on, in fact, I spoke to my marketing girl this morning and I asked her what the temperature was, and it was 7 degrees at the time. And I said, what is our soup kettle temperature? She said, I have no idea. So I'll give you a hint. It boils. She says 212 degrees. I said, send out a campaign. Outside temperature compared to our soup kettle temperature.
That's great.
So,
That's
it's cold out there,
That's
but
great.
What can we use to our advantage?
I love that.
Then you're always on. Never stops.
There you go. You can't, all right? I'm told you can't. In fact, I will share. We're talking about life lessons always, right? I watch you guys. I learn a lot from your podcasts and experiences. I apologize. I just lost my train of thought.
It's all good. It's all good. You'll come back to it.
That's
come back to it.
That's a life lesson.
There's a life lesson.
There you go. Yeah.
We're going to go to big win of the week. Happened one-on-one with my boss the day before he goes away for a week's vacation. It could go one of two ways. Really good for him or really good for me or neither. But I got to the point where I needed to let him know where I felt I was not being supported by the team. And I had to point out the wheres. And I expect adjudication, if that's the right word for it. I expect those things to be...
Using that word expect gets tricky.
Your boss is lucky
I know.
to have you go to him to talk to him like that. A lot of bosses don't get that opportunity.
I wasn't happy with all the answers. We've talked about trade shows.
Yep.
Go big or go home almost. We're going small and going home. And I don't
That's
probably just,
I can see how that can make you crazy right off the bat.
we're going understaffed and with the wrong staff. So, and the worst part is that one of the gentlemen is in another department and will be competing for the leads that I should be getting because I'm hosting this show.
But the difference between you and him is when you see that lead speaking and he walks out of the room. I don't. We're talking off the pass. It's going to go follow him right out.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't bring people to trade shows that will do that to me. So being put in that position has left the waters very murky. Stay tuned for more. But being able to just throw it at them. And, our team is down 25 mil from year over year, 24 to 25.
It's a common story I'm hearing these days in a lot of industries.
But we let go 25 people from the team, left with 6. You had to expect drop off.
Unless they just...
And we lost portions from our biggest clients. And again, you can't expect your biggest clients to spend what they spent last year every year.
Right.
But we do. We kind of.
You do.
The expectation is there, and it's like they don't get it. We didn't do a perfect job. They resourced to other competitors, and But I don't want to hear just straight negative about the numbers, and that's all I'm hearing. And when they say to me, well, can you do a 7% increase from last year? I'm like, so that's $7.1 million. Okay. I need one thing. What do you need? I need a back office person dedicated to me at 3 different hours of the day. That's all. At 3 different hours of the day, there's time set aside, one of the service people that'll do nothing but do stuff for me. Yeah, we can't do that. You're asking me what I need. I'm telling you, but you still want me to sign up for that number. I won't. How can I sign up for that number if I know I can't do it? And it's not a matter of being negative. It's a matter of being reality. How far thin can I stretch myself? When you stepped out from behind the counter and behind the frying pan into that office, those are 2 different worlds, and you can't do them all. Am I right?
We always talk about goals and how you're going to get there, and it sounds like you need those tools. I mean, you can't get there without the tools.
And in their mind, it's I can't afford to hire someone just for you. And I'm saying, I'm smarter than that. I wouldn't ask for something like that. There are 4 existing people on my team that's all they do is service. So why can't we allocate a certain time frame during the day that they're allocated just to me? I have a lot of work. I got plenty, just an absurd amount of work that could get done. I said, wouldn't you like me to make 20 extra calls a day? Yeah, we can't do it.
It sounds like the results will be this. If we do this, this will happen. It sounds like you're laying it out, but there's some kind of miscommunication there, some disconnect that...
Totally frustrated.
Yeah, I would be frustrated.
Okay. Having a corporate day, so I'm going to basically give you a completely different answer.
Good.
So again, a lot of what I do is I'm involved with multiple companies, and a reason being is I always look at a bigger picture. If I'm involved with a business, I look at how can I basically bring that business to another business. If I have a relationship with both companies, I look at it, you cut through the red tape. So as we speak right now, one of my businesses is with another business, and we're deploying trailers. I'm not going to say any names or customers or whatnot, but we're deploying trailers through one of my relationships in Texas right now that basically is a big deal that helps multiple companies, that gets revenue source, and these are mobile solar trailers. That's a security offering. And so we're in the door. A couple of my companies are partnered together to basically do this. I'm kind of air traffic control, because you always, a lot of what my job is, throw titles out, but anything with a business owner, sales, is air traffic control.
Sure.
And so you just got to make sure you throw all egos aside, which I'm somewhat good at. Throw all egos aside, and you basically, okay, how do we get this done? What's the best opportunity for the customer? So it's on us to screw up now. So we got it all the way there. We got it all the way there, and now everyone has to basically fulfill their obligation, and we can have a real successful story. So we'll see. Fingers are crossed, but we can't take our foot off the gas pedal here.
That sounds awesome. Big winner of the week, John.
Let's see. How about a new idea? Something that my staff and I were always kind of looking to fulfill our mission of being part of the community. And I think we all came up with something recently, and I'm really excited. I'm speaking to a lot of people about it, but we always ask the question, how can we best serve the community? And obviously our core business, serving the community with excellent food in a quick manner at a fair price. That's our first, right, to pay the bills. But what else can we do for the community? And we came up with a nice one. I'm looking forward to this springtime. We're going to host the first ever not-for-profit fair. So there's two reasons we're going to do that. We're going to invite not-for-profits that could utilize meeting corporate, which is always looking for opportunities to get their staff involved, engagement. Maybe it's Long Island Cares, and we're going to set up a volunteer day where our staff gets paid, goes down to Long Island Cares, and helps fulfill boxes for a particular mission, maybe veterans or whatever it might be. So they're always looking for that opportunity. So Long Island Cares, you're invited to come out to the Sexy Salad, be part of this not-for-profit. But then there's also the families that are looking to share family values as they're raising their family. Maybe they're empty nesters and they're looking for something to do with their spouse. My wife and I are always asking, what can we do? Paws of War is always looking for dog walkers. They're always looking for someone to take care of the dogs, and volunteers. They're out looking for cash donations. And people are looking to do good. You guys are out in the business industry. I think we see this probably a little more than the average person. There's an awful lot of good out there, and there's a lot of people that want to do good.
There is a lot of good out there.
A lot of times they don't know where to find it. Right. So we're looking forward to that, and I'd say that that's a business win. That's a community win.
Yeah,
excellent. All right, so I would try to come up, or someone from the show in its past shoots out a question to me, and I'm starting to pose them. So Tina Patel, I don't think you know her. She's a home organizer, closet organizer.
Okay.
When am I going to have my book signing? So when I met her, I had just published my book, and it was in the fall, closer to Christmas. And I said, in May, I'm going to do a book signing. One thing led to another. I postponed it, and I never did it. I never had my own book signing for
this past May, not this future May.
24. She was one of my early guests in the podcast, and I kind of forgot about it. And I shouldn't have, you only some people only write a book once. I mean, I have a second book in me, which is great, but I didn't seize that moment. I didn't take advantage of that moment. So I'm going to try to plan an event.
I would like to volunteer to assist on this.
Okay.
But I'm going to come at this a completely different way.
Go ahead.
All right. So a book signing, like anything that we just do is normal. I can't do normal. So me, just a thought, is I'd be throwing a party. All right. We'll basically have a bunch of people there. We'll have a bunch of different themes. In fact, it'll be around the book signing, but we're going to throw a party. Maybe it's like an 80s theme party or something different. We bring a bunch of people. We make it fun. We make it exciting.
And everyone buys a book.
There you go.
I like it.
But it's drilled. It's given off. We're not pushing the book. It happens to be there. People are coming together. We're doing something different. We're going to have Sexy Salad cater it.
You invite like-minded folks. You're doing a service, and you're servicing the community. And that's, again, your whole mission statement on your whole podcast.
And you do something fun and different. And, I used to run a club in Vegas back in the day when I used to be a cool guy. Now I'm old and retired and stuff like that. So
I love it. All right. This is the last question before we dive into John. Networking tip of the week. Be ready for anything. My last networking event was with you that freezing hell cold day in Huntington. And we go to the second story walk up, and it's a podcast studio, recording studio. And I'm very curious, obviously, having a podcast. And I scooch right up there, and I meet the owner. And he's like, sit down, test the equipment. And I'm like, if we're going to test it, let's do something. He goes, I'll record. Go. And there was a contractor there that had just started talking to me. I'm like, come sit down. And the guy comes and sits down. And in seconds, I start interviewing him, and I go 5 minutes with this interview on his business, like as if this was planned.
They're the best.
And I really, really enjoyed the moment, but it was a huge fucking letdown. You know why? The guy doesn't email me the clip. I email him to remind him that I was interested in taking a look at his services, seeing what they do. I'd love to come back with my partner and take a look. Doesn't email me back. Gets even worse. I text Adam. I said, hey, Adam, what's with this guy? He hosts an event. I'm interested in services. No email back.
It's from Nooks and Social?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Adam put together a text chain, the three of us. 2 of us reply. Guy still hasn't replied.
So I hate to say this, but sometimes doing great in business is just a matter of doing your job. Yeah. It's crazy how many people just don't do their job.
Well, it's crazy what the expectations have become.
So speaking of which, I had an old boss who I admire so much. He was a great mentor of mine. My goodness, he had.
Give us a name.
John King, J. King's Food Service. What an incredible.
He's on here.
Get out of here.
He's fucking on here.
He is a mentor, a giving man. He is such a human being. But
I knew John King's.
And so I was griping, I guess, one day to him that we were falling short in an area or two or something. I don't know. And he says, John, you got to remember, there's a lot of people out there, and you might notice this 1 or 2 things, but you got to remember, when it comes to food service, there's a great slogan: we suck less. And I love it. And I use that to so many people. Someone was asking me for a good point of sale recently for their restaurant that we're opening up. And it comes down to who sucks less.
They're
just terrible. They don't even do their job. You're saying just do your job.
It's like a home contractor.
And that's when I realized this was a side hustle, because I was listening to him when he was telling me that he does this, and this. And he was telling me about all his other businesses while I was there. And that makes sense that this is a side hustle. You can lose
a little focus,
but why bother? Yeah. I want my video, damn it.
Yeah.
Networking tip?
So you in my head. I got Ed right. So I'm going to be at ISC West in March.
Okay.
My networking started. It's already started now. So it's a 3-day show. It's probably the biggest security show there is in Las Vegas. It has a whole area of Asian vendors, and then all upstairs, thousands of people. So my deal is all the meetings and stuff like that starts to get booked now. So when I go there, I'm not really I'm not like a walk the show guy, because I see cameras and I'm like, what the hell are these, but I'm more like, okay, we're doing deals or relationships in the hallway and meeting after meeting. So you make it a very exhausting time. So networking tip, you're networking on a real deal, on a real show, starts 60 days before you even get on the plane.
I'm wrapping up.
I keep Ed and he's my little confidence. Don't fuck up. Get there. Book your calendar. Book your calendar way in advance. So yeah. So now I'm gonna leave here now. Excuse me. I'm gonna book networking appointments. But
what about you, John? Networking tip of the week?
So I've been networking. One tip. So certainly get out there is one thing that I've been themed on 2026 is I'm getting out there a lot more and I'm meeting people and I follow up. But that follow up is critically important. So I have been taking numbers right away. We'll exchange a business card, sure, that's all well and good, but I'd like to exchange a text right away and follow it up. And usually, what's our next step? So it could be just to develop a relationship. It could be to have lunch. Lunches go a long way. Those meetings you talk about at trade shows go a long way. We said, I was talking to my marketing manager recently, and we finished a statement, and we will be more successful. So I said to her, if I have 2 lunches a month, we're going to be more successful. I know I'm going to have, if I book that into my calendar, so taking those 2 networkings, brand new relationships, you never have too big of a network, right?
But here's the advantage for you, and I remember having this when I owned my own deli. you can invite it to your
Sure,
house.
sure.
And you could be in your house without having to leave your house. And all it costs you is buying them lunch, which they love.
If there's ever an opportunity, if you're not working from home, if you happen to have an office, a studio, or something to that, it was always a rule that if you got them into your house, if you got them into your factory, into your warehouse, into your office, they're your customers for life. If not, it's second best. You do something memorable. So if you go out to lunch, you go to a Yankee game, a hockey game, you do something to build that relationship.
All right, so we looked through your portfolio, and I started reading it. So just for fun and games, what delis did you work at before the sexy salad?
So
start with the delis, then we'll get to the bars, and then we'll get to the catering hall.
Yeah,
keep it lasered.
Started off on the wrong foot. I worked in bad places. That's one of the things. Like, who's teaching these people? But I worked at Larkfield Deli in East Northport, and
I still go there.
I don't know. My goodness, it was my very first job. Fat John,
Fat John,
Pervert John.
I knew Fat John.
Fat John. He had a stack of girly magazines like this in the bathroom. He was the most vulgar person. Disgusting. But that was my first job, and that was a teaching of what this industry was, and that's what the industry was.
It was.
It was disgusting.
It was filthy.
Disgusting industry. He ran a very filthy deli. Bugs everywhere. Oh, okay, so that's common in the industry. No, it's not. No, it's not. But this is my first job as a 15-year-old. This is what I'm learning. I worked across the street at Larkfield Manor. That was great. I fell in love with the industry. I'm washing dishes. I was 15 years old, and the Asian couple over there, they're carving away the most gorgeous melons, radishes of all different colors, black radishes, red radishes, white radishes. Oh my God, I'm falling in love. These garde creations, dragons out of watermelons. It's like, this is the spot for me.
So you went to catering, but I got to throw a name at you. Do you remember Colony Hill?
Sure, Colony Hill, of course. My one of my
instructors. Spent 3 New Year's Eves there.
I did. Oh, okay. So
working.
I never visited myself, but I know that.
Working.
What's that?
I worked there.
Oh, you worked at Colony Hill?
3 New Year's Eves in a row. Paid top dollar at the time, back in 1982.
So Chef Tony, I took culinary in the Dix Hills Bosse's. That kind of saved my life. I was lost in high school. And Chef Tony was recruiting a lot of the students to Colony Hill. He was a sous chef over there. Yes, that's a Long Island history. I just found out we have an event coming up. That's what now? Was the Wyndham? What's the hotel now? What is it now?
It's called the.
Is it the Wyndham or?
No, I was there.
No, it's the finest hotel in the area.
In Long Island?
Yeah,
it's right behind Computer Associates. I was just there.
Yeah.
The Hyatt.
The Hyatt. It's the Hyatt. Very nice property.
I was there for Joe Beauchamp's event 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Another successful event. Yeah. People came out of there inspired.
What bars? You mentioned bars.
So I used to lease out in Huntington. There was first it started with the Harbor View in Northport, which is now the Ritz Cafe, and it became the Ritz Cafe when I left. The deal was there was 2 couples that owned it. They had a closed kitchen. Come in, open up the kitchen, it's yours. Give us 10% of what you bring in. So I was, 21 years old, 22 years old. Gave me an opportunity to cook chicken wings until 4 o'clock in the morning. Cliff and Joe bought it. Offered me strawberries in Huntington. Joe, who bought it, still owns it today. He's owned it for more than 30 years. Great guy.
What does that mean, they offered What does that mean?
So Cliff Sieber owned Strawberries Cafe in Huntington, and he owned Rosebuds across the street, 419 and 427 New York Avenue, I believe it was. It's now Huntington Village Tavern, and I don't know what the restaurant is now. It's most recently Red. But I took over the kitchen there, and I gave him 10% of whatever I brought in. So it was an opportunity to have my own business without all the overhead.
But when you take over the kitchen, is there
took over the kitchen?
So you're just paying 10% off the top.
So whatever I sold, if I sold $1,000 worth of food on a Saturday night, I gave him $100 in rent.
Got it.
And capped it. And,
but you had to pay for all the food. And
that's correct. We split the service. So. If their waitress was, the waitress bill was $200 for the week, I paid $100 and they paid $100. Mm-hmm. I went open to Gallagher's in East Northport. That's now the Changing Time pub. That was a lot of fun. I did one in East Rockaway. It was a little bit too far from me. You really got to be there.
Just so you know, I had wings with my daughter at Changing Times. That's our daddy-daughter.
I understand that's a great place these days.
It's been around a long time.
Have been around. You can't be around a long time if you're not great.
Do you remember the deli in the CVS shopping center? Anderson's.
I worked at Anderson's Deli.
On Larkfield
So it was
or in
TikTok.
Kings Park?
I worked at TikTok as well. What a great businessman
No,
was.
which one did you work on?
So Anderson's on Larkfield Road.
Started, and then he moved to Kings Park.
Correct. So
I
I
worked at
from,
that one.
It was a very short-lived Anderson's in TikTok Shopping Center at the time, CVS now. But Paul, you're talking about CVS. Let me tell you something. You talked about success stories. Paul Kessler owned TikTok.
I don't know who Paul Kessler
Oh my! Let me tell you a story.
No, let's not.
Another time. I'm going to share.
time.
It's a great story, boy. Wow.
You're in the back, and then I read through your profile that you went to work for Cisco. Mm-hmm. Did Cisco buy out Kings?
So that changed my life. So here I am. All right. My last job in the food business was the Fort Lauderdale Marina Marriott. I am never going to work here again. It was just absolutely horrendous. It was such abuse. And I swore off the industry. Became a bartender, lived the life down in South Florida. It was wonderful. Came back, didn't know what I was going to do. I met now my wife, my girlfriend. She encouraged me to do sales. I did get a job with Cisco. That changed my life. That gave me the education that Fat John at Larkfield Deli did not give me. Finally sitting in a classroom, how about standing in the fields in California, in Salinas Valley, learning how broccoli is grown. Going up to Canada to Mother Parker's coffee roasters and learning everything you can imagine.
The beans.
We went down to Tampa and learned all about shrimp. And we went to the McCormick Spice Facility in Maryland and learned everything you could want to know about spices. And got an education that we could do something with. It was really an MBA.
Here we go.
It absolutely changed my life. But after a while, it was corporate, and I had a very large territory to start and a very small territory to finish. And so it was time for me to move on. John King called. It was time for me to accept a position with him. It was a great move for me. Worked for him for 3 years before I opened the Sexy Salad. That was wonderful. When I interviewed for Cisco, they told me, okay, you're going to be the first salesman hired on Long Island. It's a brand new territory. We're going to grow this area. We're going to have many, many, many salespeople. We're going to open up a warehouse down there. I held my breath. What was really neat was I did their ribbon cutting ceremony many, many, many years later as a caterer of my own. So I own the Sexy Salad. Cisco calls me. We finally opened this warehouse. For me to go to them, asking for a job, them educating me, them elevating me to the point where I become a successful business person, them achieving their goals and me being a part of that was just an absolute incredible. Moving on down the road, they bought their biggest competitor on Long Island, J. King's.
So J. King's was the operating system when I bought my first deli in '92.
Great businessman.
And they sent out a local sales rep, and she was a smoke show, and I was more interested in trying to sleep with her than listen to what she was telling me. And she was telling me important things, and I wasn't paying attention because I was 27 and I was chasing tail. But then she reeled me in and said, you don't ever have a shot with me. Do you want to learn this or don't you? And she was very educating in marketing. Marketing was what they taught me that I didn't really know anything about because it was my first job out in the world on my own. And, very grateful for what they did teach me because it was, like you said, you get your MBA somewhere. I wouldn't have known to do these things without her.
Yeah, what he also taught us all was how to just be better business people. He was adding value. Otherwise, it was how much is the price of your product.
Can I ask you, when you decided to open Sexy Salad, how did you how did it work financially?
So, unfortunately, I did a very dangerous thing. I opened it with no money. I was working for corporate. I got no deep pockets. I bought a underperforming bagel store. I did 13 lunches my first day. It was there was no business there.
And so when you bought this bagel store,
I bought it over time. I paid him in 3 years.
So it was seller finance.
It was.
Got it.
It was. It was. And he had no choice either. He had no business.
He couldn't get out.
And I couldn't get in. So it worked for us. And, we started off slow and we grew. From my 13 lunches to, we set a goal, begin with the end in mind, I apologize, is always the thought process, right? So where do we want to be? We want to be selling 500 lunches a day. That was our goal. Between catering and walk-in, we want to sell 500 lunches. And so then we came up with a plan on how we were going to do that. And we set out to do that. And it was really neat when we finally achieved
Where did you come up with the name, the Sexy Salad?
So,
story.
We learn from each other, right? We take ideas throughout our lives. But I was just 21 years old at the time. Club Med had a beautiful vacation paradise in Eleuthera, and they eat family style. And I walk into the dining room, family style, and in the back of the room is the noise I'm hearing, the banging of the bowl, and the chef yelling out, "Sexy salads! Get your sexy salads here!" And I went in the back, and it was a setup similar to the way I do it today. Build your own. So he's got all of his ingredients. He's making a lot of noise. He's being entertaining. I was finishing that vacation to go back to open a restaurant at St. James, and for the opening party for the owner and his family and friends, I did this sexy salad table, and it was a great success. And I said, we're going to do this someday. We're going to get out. And 20 years later is when I finally...
You have it trademarked?
Of course, yeah, sure.
You were friends with Ralph over at Coliseum Deli?
Yeah.
I think I asked you this. And so I worked for Coliseum Deli. I left the city running a restaurant in the city, and I came out there, and I'm going to tell you, I created the chopped salad at their
For Ralph.
For Ralph. And that was in 2001.
And that was the perfect timing.
And it was gangbusters. Like, it was the biggest hit with the ladies in the neighborhood to set up a salad station.
And his crowd, yeah.
And they were just blown. And then I brought fajita Taco Tuesdays, and like I just thought all the things I learned in the city.
And that's what Ralph was looking for. You were an ideal employee to him.
Yeah.
He was very aggressive on that. When I first met him, he invited me in to be his sales rep for J. King's, but under one condition. He said, don't ever come in here without an idea. And he stuck with that. I had to come in with something, valuable or not, something that he could have a discussion with.
Every now and then a guest says something that I want to steal, and I love that. Like anytime you have a meet, come in with an idea. I like that. I like that a lot.
So I have to ask this. I read your bio, your leadership, and I said to you before the show started, to be able to have the length of time that your employees work with you in the deli industry is unmatched because, you know, like I said to you, you get 9 months out of someone, you're happy, they're going to move on. That's just the nature of the industry.
Sure.
People looking for a quick job. I can do deli. But you having employees for 12 and 15 years, that's just speaks volumes.
Sure. So my horrible experiences are what make me a better leader, I think, today. Working for Fat John when I was 15 years old, working with bugs. My employees don't have to work with bugs. We always had to buy our own uniforms. My employees don't have to buy their own uniforms. My worst experience, I told you about the Marriott I worked out of in Fort Lauderdale. I was pounding chicken, which I did on a regular basis, and the food and beverage director comes by. And she grabs the towel off the table, and she picks it up, and she says, how many times do I tell you no towels on the table? And she proceeded to put that wet chicken juice towel in my face. It was absolutely disgusting and vile. And you work under these conditions, and you swear that one day you're going to be able to open a place of your own and really treat people the way they deserve to be treated. So my employees are really they're just the hardest working, most loyal, most dedicated, and they do everything for me. I'm doing a little work before I had to come over to the studio this morning, and they knock on my door. They made me a lunch, a beautiful, beautiful steak and rice, and it was just absolutely gorgeous, mushrooms and onions, and that's just the kind of staff that I have. They just want to be good. They're family, but I take care of them. You know, a lot of places I worked at, they had a policy, you can get a discount on a meal. My employees don't pay for any meals. Take what you want. We just have to run it differently. I don't want to lose them to corporate. The other thing is they come knocking on my door telling me they need more money. First off, I don't need more money. We all need more money. I deserve more money is what I tell them from when they're hired. I want you to come knocking on my door. I deserve more money, and then tell me why. And I'm not going to turn you down. If I'm going to turn you down, it's because you're not worth it, which means I don't really care if you leave.
Right.
But if you come knocking on my door telling me that you deserve more money because you followed my directions and you took the training that we gave you and you deserve more, you're going to get that extra money. I want them to grow, and I don't want to be training somebody else next month. Yeah. So it's been a wonderful relationship.
I'm going to ignore that for a little bit. So your business is so interesting to me. What are the hours that the shop is open for now? So,
you know, I'm a worker. Food business, we work hard. And I would work more if I could. I was there this weekend, both days, Saturday and Sunday. We were closed. We're open Monday through Friday from 6 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We do some evenings. We do some weekends. I like to do baby showers, wedding showers, things like that.
How many people can go in the restaurant at one time?
So we have seating inside for about 50. we have seating outside for about another 60 people for nice weather. And then the majority of our business is ordering online. They love the dashboard diner. They'll grab their food. They order online, grab their food, in and out, and they'll sit in their car and they'll listen to their favorite radio station. Talk to their girlfriend.
You can actually have events or have it could be dating events. Come get a sexy salad and basically
we don't think we've touched the opportunities that are ahead of us.
Right.
We redesigned our dining room last year, and it's beautiful. It's private. I think in the past it was very open, and it looked to me like it was a food establishment. Our signs for the sandwiches and salads and the counter was very visible from the dining area. Now it's blocked off. It's beautiful bamboo walls, beautiful Long Island artwork. And I think it's a lot more appropriate for these type of events.
I think that's a very fair, because I think, you're very well respected in the community. The name is out there. Your name is a catchy name, especially in today's world. There's so many things that you can go with that. And I think that, I'm just some schmuck that comes up with crazy ideas, but I think there's so many things that you could potentially do that open or expand the market. And it's exciting. Like I look at it, I'm like excited. Yeah. And with your personality, I think that and we just said, whatever, 22 years old, we'll just call it that way. You've just started really because.
So I think, I think we're a 22-year startup. But I think those ideas are coming from me now. Post-COVID, COVID was terrible. Okay, it's over. And then we got opened, and then we started to see what was going to happen, and we're not really liking what's happening. We're not seeing the people coming back to their offices. We see the offices getting knocked down, being rebuilt to warehouses.
You're pivoting your model.
You have to. So even these warehouses, which I was, first 6 months pitying, tires in that warehouse don't buy coffee. But the people that stack those warehouses do, and it's only 40 degrees in that warehouse, and they would love 100 soups sent over there, wouldn't they? For all the employees in there, I think it's an opportunity for us. So
I'm sorry, but it's interesting when you do this. How do you control your menu? Or do you ever think about when you want to expand the market or whatnot? I know we talked about this earlier, but let's just theoretically said, hey, do you ever think about being open at night, or did you ever think about people want certain things besides salad? Can you offer that?
Yeah. So that's what got us into trouble. And it really is an outdated business model. If you see the diners of Long Island, the delis of Long Island, once great, we could brag about
Good
them.
evening, cash coming in.
It's an outdated business model because the menu is so large. You can come into the Sexy Salad and get literally anything. I mean, if you're gluten-free, if you're vegetarian, if you're looking for soups or salads or sandwiches or quick grab and go, I mean, it's just such an incredibly diversified menu. It became so big based on our demand from our customers. It was mostly human resources directors told us in the very beginning that we love your food, we like what you offer, but you're either my caterer or you're not my caterer. So we became their caterer. And so we do their company picnic, and we do the bereavement, and we do the holiday party, and we do the hot chocolate social, and we do the whatever it might be, thank you, you guys did a great job, and so Friday lunch. And so our menu became really, really diversified, and there's a few people on Long Island that can do it well. Sexy Salad happens to be one of them. Other than that, it's chains doing one thing. You might get in a wonderful, maybe there's, I don't do chains myself, but maybe there's a really good chain Mexican restaurant. You get Taco Tuesday or something like that. But that's all they are, is just tacos. So, then they got to call somebody else, and that's not really what they want to do. They want to have a relationship. They want to be able to text me. I already know their employees. I know what they like. I already know. I did an event last week, and as we were heading out the back door to go set it up, I said I need a decaf. I just remember doing that account last week, and somebody asked me for a decaf coffee. So I know somebody happens to want decaf, and that's something the chains can't do, and that's not something that even a lot of independent operators can do.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to get to the last two questions.
Well, this leads right in. So you've had tremendous success. Where do you see the business going? Where do you see you going in the next 5 years?
So the business has changed a lot, mostly technology. When I first got there, I called Cablevision, and there was no internet service in the park. To think about that there was no internet service in the park just 23 years ago, the largest office park on Long Island. So we talk about exponential change. With AI right now, we thought the internet changed us really fast in 20 years, and it has. I don't think we've seen anything. So I really have to pay attention to AI to come up with the answer on that. I think it's yet to come. I think it was Wilbur Wright that said, he was asked, where's the future of aviation? He says, I have no idea, but it's going to be spectacular. I could probably tell you that Sexy Salad will be spectacular. The people that I'm meeting, the community out there of like-mindeds that I'm lucky enough, I really truly believe I'm a lucky man to be in the room of some of these absolutely brilliant networkers. I get ideas. Where do you get your next idea from? You get it from sitting, in a room with people and just having conversations. And I feel like I'm exploding lately. All of a sudden, business is changing, attitudes are changing. Even my desire, my goals, my desire to get up in the day and start scratching off and watching these successes happen. It's there, but you got to go after it. You got to get out in the world.
All right, last question. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would you like to sit down and have a meal at the Sexy Salad with?
I love and admire Michael Bloomberg. He is such a brilliant man. He is such a giving man. He is so smart. I'm lucky enough to listen to him. He sits on the board of a business group that I belong to. And we have an annual convention in Washington, and he speaks there. And I'm like at the edge of my seat, just, You
want to share what that board is?
Well, this is the 10,000 Small Businesses. 10,000 Small Businesses was created as a grant by Goldman Sachs. And what they did was they took people like myself who were maybe good at one particular thing. I learned in Think and Grow Rich of specialized knowledge.
I read that book.
So I have specialized knowledge. I know the food business, okay? But that's about the extent of it. 10,000 Small Businesses is a program, an education program put together by Babson College and the Wharton School, two incredible business schools that put us at LaGuardia Community College until we graduate with a very specific focus, a business opportunity that's unique, that will propel you to the next. So 10,000 Small Businesses was a grant by Goldman Sachs to educate us. There's alumni, there's continuous events, there's always access. They make sure that we have access to our elected officials. They make sure that we always have access to capital. And it is a 100% free program for anybody that signs up for it that has at least 3 employees, that has been in business for at least 2 years. Anybody that doesn't take advantage of that is just silly.
That's pretty
That
amazing.
changed my life.
I wanted to comment on something. You said that the HIA was the biggest commercial park in Long Island. It is the second largest in the entire country.
It's huge.
Only to Silicon Valley.
It's huge. So at one time we were bragging 55,000 people. I'm not sure where we are with the pandemic. And I'm not sure where we're going to be again as things change exponentially over the next period of time.
Like Mark
I see
said.
technology coming into the park a lot more.
Right.
Like Mark said, it all depends on
We
how you
need
pivot.
the infrastructure. I think we need the power grids. I visit down south, down in the Washington area, and I see the buildings and the power grids like crazy, and it's all computers inside there. It's,
Well, this has been amazing rekindling for me. Talking Jay Kings, most people wouldn't even know who the hell Jay Kings is. And Dirtbag John, he was filthy. I remember him. It was one of the first delis I went to. And it was
Hopefully he doesn't watch this podcast, but
I don't think he's still around.
No, he's probably not still
He's
around.
probably not still around. But I would like to do an event at your place and bring my crew. I run a Tuesday morning networking group, and maybe we do a breakfast there.
We would be gracious hosts. We would love to have you.
We have usually show up with 25 folks, and you and I could put together a menu that'll fit our budget, because our budget's pretty nice. So I don't need you to
We'll treat them right.
That's all I need. So it's been a pleasure. Episode 48 on the way. Appreciate you. See you next time.